Oh, okay. So, if you're being honest, studying sucks. Being overwhelmed, like got hella exams to study for, like it's not fun. It really isn't fun. But hopefully, this video makes it suck less. Even though I graduated, I'm now a student myself. So, studying ophthalmology and stuff. So hopefully, I can show you some of the strategies that I'm using right now, so that you could have an easier time and have a less sucky time studying. How that sound? Good? Well, stay tuned all the way to the end, and I can give you some of what I do that you could do that makes stuff better, not me. I want to acknowledge that yes, studying can be like a real drag, right? Like some of us would rather do something else than study. Sometimes anything else rather than study. So what I want to show you is let me know if you sound like my friend Jolan. So I can run this clip and let me know if you sound anything like her.
Glad you talk about that because I always tell people, honest, up to this day, don't know if I know how to study properly. Up to this day.
I felt this way too. Like studying is this big thing that we're never taught to do in school and I don't know how to do it. So I want to show you now, like after I was able to do some research because I felt like I didn't know how to study, what was at least one of the strategies I was able to take away. Those conversations we used to have and how we used to study. Jolan, teach me this thing. We used to do that. That how we used to teach. That how we used to actually get ready.
And I used to be
I,
so confused.
and
Like,
Jolan be like, "Jermaine, we doing that?" But no, 'cause I used to actually be researching how to learn and stuff because I felt like I wasn't doing it well. Reciprocal teaching. When you teach somebody something,
you
it's more embedded in your brain.
listen.
Yeah, it's more reinforced.
Guys, do that. Try doing I promise you. If you can explain something to somebody,
Yeah. So reciprocal teaching. If I could more explain what I was saying in that clip. So a good example of reciprocal teaching would be like you and a friend are reading a book, and your friend reads one page of the book, and then tries to teach you that page. And then for the next page of the book, your friend reads it and probably reads it orally, and then tries to explain the page to you. So again, you will need another person to do this, but all that happens is that the, the roles between teacher and student are always switched and reversed. So you can be the teacher this time, I'll be the teacher next time. And what that is able to do is able to reinforce what you learn, because when you teach something, you have to try to put it in simpler terms so that not only you can understand, but the person you're trying to teach it understands. I would advise you to do that because it's a lot better than rereading and rewriting notes. Telling you, like when I hear that people is rereading and rewrite notes, I just like cringe. Like you can do so much better. I want to roll this next clip on what else me and Joanna used to do in our study sessions, which I think is a good little insight. So roll the clip.
you
And
got
then we
me,
and then
like,
we went
you
a different
genuinely
step, and then we
haven't.
went even further. So no, you can explain it, but no, I used to pretend that if it was 5 years old, and then you had to explain it to me, but no one had to act like a 5 year old.
Yeah.
And then what you should do on top of that is ask you why. All right, Joanna, why does this theory do this and then and then we
Don't
go on this
get
rabbit hole,
annoyed.
and then it was so why does that thing and thing and thing, and that's when you kind of like actually learn. These clips that you're watching before are from the Student Struggles podcast. See that card up there? If you want to see like the full length, like peep that here. So as you can see, I would put Joanna through a lot. Act like if it was 5 years old, ask her a bunch of questions, ask her why. So this technique is actually called the Feynman technique. There's an easy 5 steps to follow for the Feynman technique. You want to choose what you want to learn about, and that's kind of easy. So you pick the subject that you're revising. The next step is what like me and Joanna would do. Try to teach it in simple language and as if you were teaching it to a 5 year old. So that's what I said, Jolan. Explain it like to me like if I was 5 years old. Understand? Okay. After you explain it simply, you need to identify areas that were difficult for you to explain. So you were still using like complicated language there, like weren't able to probably communicate like how this theory or this concept works. And then you can see, okay, good. That is an area needed for improvement. So then what you do is for those parts that are difficult, you just study more around those areas and then you try to repeat the process again and try to simplify those concepts or those problem areas by teaching again in simple language. You see the word simple coming, around a lot now. Using that simple language to try to communicate to somebody. If you can teach it to somebody in simple language, that means you gotta know what you're talking about. Also, what I added to this, my own little layer, is to ask Jolan why a lot. Because when you ask why like one or two more times, it really puts that person in a place where they have to really know what they're talking about. So as Jolan said, when I kept asking why, it forced her to see how things related, and she was able to build connections among like different theories and concepts that she was learning in whatever subject she was. This is like a little bonus one in regards to like note taking. I've realized this, and I feel like it's important to mention. There's a way to take notes that is more effective. I think this is another area in which studying is important, where you could actually use your notes to study. So instead of writing down everything that your teacher says and you dictate the notes and you're like furiously trying to keep up with what your teacher said, like, oh my gosh. Instead, pose questions. Let me say you learn about the quadratic formula or the water cycle. Don't just say the water cycle is this where, precipitation and rain is X and Y. Ask yourself, what is the water cycle? What are the X, 5, 6 stages inside the water cycle? What does each stage mean when the class is over? And whatever time you're using to study or revise, try to answer those questions. When you answer the questions, you're forcing yourself to see what you remember from class. Then what you could do is, where there are blanks or like missing blocks of information, go read, Google, YouTube the answers and fill them in. And that's a lot better than if you just wrote your notes, because now you're exerting yourself or you're forcing yourself to try to understand what you learn in class. So you get the ability to quiz yourself, and you get probably way better notes that are in your own words than everybody else. Again, reciprocal teaching, mix up between you and your partner. And again, yes, find a friend. You know someone you could use, you're not that big of a loner. You may be introverted, but you could still do a little thing. Right, so find a friend and switch between student and teacher roles often. That will allow each of you to get good experience in trying how to put across things in simple words. If you want to double down on that, use the Feynman technique. Find what you want to study, explain it in simple language, figure out what areas are hard for you to explain, and then go back, study those till you can explain them in simpler words. Finally, note taking. Pose questions in your notes rather than just like write the notes. Answer them at a later date, so you're actually kind of quizzing yourself, and then you just get better notes, which is easier to study when you need to study again. If you enjoyed, well, not if you enjoyed. What to say? If you're really trying to get a handle on your education, free ebook in the description, The Power of Self-Education. It's a good read. If you're trying to learn how to study, you obviously want to hit like other academic goals. That means you like care about school somewhat, which is good. And this is going to show you how to hit any and all goals you had for you this semester, this school year, whatever the case is. So watch that.